I think you do see a trend in the final four teams in the playoff. Is teams that can beat you up at the line of scrimmage. Like in a weird way, in the modern era of college football, on the field, it's kind of gone back to the way it was about 15, 20 years ago. Where, don't get me wrong, quarterback play matters. The best two quarterbacks in the country, maybe the best three, are in the semifinal. Mendoza, Dante Moore, and potentially one of the top three, Trinidad Chambliss. But up front is where those teams can get you. Ole Miss is kind of the exception to that rule. Ole Miss is just going to outscore you. They're kind of like a classic Big 12 team from about a decade ago. But Oregon, physical at the line of scrimmage. The same thing could be said about Indiana. The same thing could be said about Miami. It's kind of who can beat you up at the line of scrimmage, who can be able to win at the point of attack, and that's ultimately who's won these games. Texas Tech has done that all season long. The difference is Texas Tech doesn't have close to the offense, or at least as high of a ceiling of offensive caliber guys as Oregon has, and that's why you saw Oregon win that game yesterday in the Orange Bowl, 23-0. Listen, Texas Tech had their opportunities. They got down the red zone. The kid for Oregon, I think he was a freshman, had a couple of interceptions, a really impressive performance by the Ducks. And again, it's a team that can beat you in a multitude of different ways. Like, I picked Texas Tech to win this game because I thought their defense was as good as you could see in college football. The fact they dominated BYU the way that they did twice, the best team outside of, obviously, the Red Raiders in the Big 12. Oregon, though, it's like, hey, we come from the best conference in college football. Only loss came to Indiana. You know, we've competed against Ohio. We beat Ohio State last year, albeit with some different players. You got to upgrade at quarterback from Dylan Gabriel to Dante Moore. You got a playmaker at that position. And it was just kind of like a methodical. You could tell in the play calling, you could tell Dan Lanning and his staff were like, okay, early on, they're not moving the football. You could tell early on. It was it like 6-0 at halftime or something like that in favor of the Ducks? Like, it's Texas Tech is missing field goals. Like, this is going to be a little bit of a defensive struggle where points are going to be at a premium. We just got to kind of take them where we can get them. So let's play conservative. Texas Tech is going to make some mistakes. Take advantage of those on short fields. Even when Texas Tech gets to the red zone, pick off a pass in the end zone to pretty much wrap up the game for all intents and purposes and win the way that we can do so there. I mean, and Dan Lanning will play the soundbite. He even talked about it, after the game, that a lot of people who are box score watchers look at, hey, wait a second, they gave up 34 to James Madison. Yeah, because he took the foot off the gas pedal. That's why they gave up 34 to James Madison. Dan Lanning kind of talked about that after the game.
Man, it was a lot of fun. Last week a lot of people talked about our defense. They showed up today, right? I hold them to 0. It's a really good offense. It's a really good team that we just got to play. And our guys went out there and they just played the next play, played the next play, played the next play. They got in the red area, we played the next play, right? Offense just kept punching and punching. We out-physicaled them there at the end, and that's where it needed to show up.
Again, 28 of James Madison's points last week came in the second half. Like, the game was over. I use the analogy of, when I was a youngster playing middle school basketball, let's just say we played a team that was the state champions. I don't know who scheduled that for us, but they full court pressed us for literally the first minute of the game. I think it was 20-0 after about 55 seconds. And then they ended up scoring 86 the rest of the game. It's like 20 points the first minute, 66 for the last, whatever it was, 23. It's like they took their foot off the gas. They'd won the game in the first minute. That's how it felt with Oregon last week against James Madison. But again, like, when you are Oregon, when you are Phil Knight obviously has a lot of, control with that. And not Phil Knight, it was Phil Knight. Phil Knight, the CEO of Nike. When you have all of the NIL money that they have, all the money Oregon's got, we see the flashy uniforms and whatnot, but this is Dan Lanning who comes from the SEC. It's kind of the old school SEC where it's hit you in the mouth, play physical football. And Oregon used to be kind of a finesse team. Not anymore. Those days are gone. This is a new day, for the Ducks. And listen, it's a program that is pretty consistently underachieved in the biggest spots. I mean, last year, number 1 seed, Rose Bowl, and just get clocked by by Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Upgrade at quarterback, bring in Dante Moore, who is a highly touted, recruiting prospect. Good running game. Again, you're seeing a theme with all the 4 teams left in the playoff, with the exception of Ole Miss, who will just outscore you. Is good O-line, good D-line, playmaker at quarterback. In the case of Miami, more of a game manager at quarterback and Carson Beck. Like, these are the 4 best teams we got. If you inserted Georgia in place of Ole Miss, like, Georgia feels like they were the best team left out of the semifinals. So I can't wait. But again, next week is when the games are. So Thursday night, 7:30 Eastern, Miami against Ole Miss. Miami is a 3.5-point favorite in the Verbo Fiesta Bowl. And then the next day on Friday, it will be Oregon versus Indiana. That'll be at 7:30 on ESPN. That's going to be next week. And then the national championship game will be on January 19th. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube. And be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.